I'm in Southeast Asia with my 1913 Bradshaw's Handbook. Published at the height of European imperialism, my 100-year-old guidebook will lead me on a railway adventure through archipelagos and peninsulas, dotted with hills, forests and paddy fields. I'll tour towering megacities and magnificent mosques. I'll encounter golden Buddhas and jeweled temples and experience some of the world's most spectacular and notorious railways. As I travel through the diverse nations of this vast region, I'll learn how they asserted their independence against the British, French and Dutch empires to become the economic tigers and dragons of today. My Indonesian rail journey continues in Java, which the guidebook tells me is situated on the south of Borneo and separated at its west end from Sumatra by the Sunda Straits. It is 666 miles long and between 36 and 135 miles broad. The mountains rise up to 12,000 feet. The chief products are coffee, sugar, tin, tea, copra, pepper, quinine, rubber, and indigo. At the time of my guidebook, these commodities enriched the island's Dutch colonial masters, who alternately coexisted or warred with the Javanese sultans. In the years that followed, resentment against the foreign rulers would increase, not least amongst the majority Muslim population, which is today the world's largest. The railways of Southeast Asia have brought me to the southern archipelago of Indonesia. I'm traveling across the island of Java, home to more than half the Indonesian population. I began in the capital Jakarta and made my way to the central province. On this leg, I'll visit the royal city of Yogyakarta and its sister city, Surakarta, where I'll leave the main line for Ambarawa. I'll continue my journey to Surabaya. On my travels, we're all aboard a century-old railway carriage. Hello! I'll try out traditional dress. Could I get away with it in London?
In London? Yeah.
And step out of the shadows with no strings attached. I'm very nasty, and anyone who comes near me had better be very careful. I'm following a line built in the late 1880s by the state railway enterprise of the Dutch East Indies. It connected agricultural plantations with the seaports and Dutch trade routes across the world. Thank you. To leave the station, we have to pass through another train, which is parked in our way. On all my railway journeys, this is a first. Yogyakarta is one of Java's most historic cities, now a special administrative region, and the only royal city in Indonesia still governed by a monarch. So this is Yogyakarta, commended by my Bradshaws for its broad, shady streets with teak trees in abundance. Here I'm surrounded by volcanoes of awesome power invested with mystic significance. This is the location where the ancients chose to build magnificent temples. For many, this city is the cultural heart of Java. Yogyakarta became a sultanate in its own right in 1755, following a rebellion against the Dutch-controlled ruler of the kingdom of Mataram, of which it then formed part. My Bradshaws has brought me to the Sultan's palace and gardens. Like France in the Indo-Chinese theatre, like Britain in India, the Netherlands kept certain local dynasties in place. But there was no doubt that the puppet masters were Dutch. Yogyakarta's first sultan, Hamengkubuwono, ruled by arrangement with Java's Dutch colonial administration. This grand palace, known as the Kraton, built during the first sultan's reign, formed the political and cultural centre of his kingdom. Here in the tranquility of its courtyards, you can sense that the Kraton was built in harmony with nature, with the volcanoes and with the sea. And then it was occupied by a sultanate of undisputed legitimacy, in harmony with tradition and, of course, with religion. And then these people would attract the loyalty and esteem of the local population in a way that the Dutch could not possibly hope to compete with. The Hamengkubuwono dynasty survived colonial rule and more recently Indonesian independence and continues to reign today. Much of this sprawling complex is open to visitors, but the inner core is the private residence of the present monarch. One of the interesting things to me is that this Kraton is not a museum. It is the headquarters of a living and active sultan. I can see how important it is to these young people to be visiting today. This is the special region of Yogyakarta, special because of its cultural significance, and the Sultan is seen as a cultural leader. He recently reformed the rules of heredity so that women may succeed to his title. So this is a modernizing and relevant sultanate. It's also the custodian of the kingdom's cultural traditions. Every weekend, one of Java's most ancient and revered performances takes place in the courtyard of the palace. Wayang is a form of puppetry that dates back perhaps 1,000 years to Hindu and Buddhist times. In an era when most of the population was illiterate, these vivid shows were highly influential and persuasive. But as Islam reached these shores, the art form faced a ban because the religion prohibited the imitation of life forms. But since wayang could help to convert the masses to Islam, a way to overcome the difficulty was found. The puppets would appear behind a screen. And thereafter, wayang became a powerful, if shadowy, recruiter of new Muslims. Beyond the palace walls is the workshop of one of the country's foremost puppet makers. Hello.
Hello.
I'm Michael.
Oh, Sagio.
What a great pleasure to see you. Sagio, as a child, learned his craft from his father, and today makes and maintains the puppets for the royal palace. Sagio, you have a beautiful workshop here. What is the origin of this form of puppetry?
The wayang kulit in 16th century. Wayang is means shadow, you know. Kulit is mean leather.
What sort of leather?
The best one for wayang kulit is buffalo leather.
Buffalo leather.
Buffalo leather, yes.
Could I see how the puppets are made, please?
Yeah, this one.
Thank you.
So this is the process.
Yes.
First must be drawing like this.
I can scarcely see the
Yeah.
pattern. Very, very finely
Yeah.
drawn on there.
And then cut one by this knife. And then all is handicraft without machine.
Without machine at all.
Without machine.
How long, for example, has this gentleman been doing this work?
About 1 week for carving only, and 1 week for coloring. So at least one, but this size 2 weeks with the good quality.
And the next part of the process?
This is a 75% finished. This one.
May I just touch that?
Yeah.
That is absolutely exquisite. The leather has become like lace. These lovely plants and details and shapes. Beautiful. That's wonderful. That is so beautiful.
Thank you.
That's superb.
Good. This is the finished one for carving, you know.
Yes. Oh, now look at these arms. Very, very thin arms. Yeah. Aren't they wonderful?
This is the good quality for carving, but the material is strong enough. For instance, I can roll this one like this.
No, don't. Don't do that.
Because
no, don't do that.
Not broken.
A village might enjoy performances from 100 wayang kulit puppets, but there are up to 500 different characters in the palace's collection. Beautiful. Who is this character?
The name of this puppet is Bhima. Bhima is from Mahabharata story.
Mahabharata stories.
The symbol of the good character and strong man, this one.
May I try? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I am extremely strong. Yes. Look at my muscles. I'm strong. Oh, let me see another.
This is bad character.
I'm very nasty. Very nasty indeed. And anyone who comes near me had better be very, very careful. On top of Yogyakarta's high cultural reputation, its people are also famous for their sweet tooth. Here, confectionery is being packaged for tourists to take back home. And I've been recommended to try something called lupis. Terima kasih. So what we have here is sticky rice with coconut flakes on top, and then palm sugar drizzled over that. Boy, it's not bad. It's quite nice. Yogyakarta's markets burst with striking fabrics, and one is prized above all others, batik. It's a UNESCO World Heritage textile, and each pattern and symbol is culturally significant for Indonesians. Hello, honey.
Hello.
My name is Michael.
Michael, hello Michael. Welcome to Batik Binoto Sastra.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
please have a look at the batik process.
Oh, I'd love to see it. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
bye.
Hubi Hani Winota Sastro is the 5th generation of her family to make the cloth. Honey, we're surrounded by beautiful batik. You're wearing a lovely batik shirt, if I may say
Thank
so.
you.
One of the great products of Indonesia. But what is batik?
Batik is a process resist dye with the hot wax.
Resist dye. So the dye goes everywhere
Yeah.
except
Yeah.
where the wax is.
Yeah. Right.
Uh-huh. And how is the wax applied to the cloth?
Right. We have two different with the all done by hand with the chanting tulis we call it.
A chanting tulis.
Chanting tulis. And then the other one is with the hand stamp. This is from copper like that.
All these beautiful stamps, these are
Yeah.
different designs.
Different design. And the stamp is chanting chap.
Each region in Indonesia has its distinctive motifs and colours. White, indigo and brown are traditionally Yogyakartan. Prior to the arrival of Islam, batik cloths featured humans and animals. Such depictions were forbidden under Islam and were replaced by intricate geometric designs. This is extraordinary, that he gets it exactly
Exactly.
in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
Respect.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. I'm not going to touch it. But
Yeah,
all...
it's already dried.
Is that already dry?
Yeah.
And as I touch it with my finger, I can feel the relief.
Yeah.
I can feel it's just raised off the cloth.
Right.
And that is going to stop the dye going through. So
Yeah.
presumably you have to get the wax off, do you?
Yeah. To remove the wax in boiling water.
The copper and wood block application is a Javanese innovation introduced in the 19th century. But the most refined and expensive batik is applied by hand. This is very fine and beautiful work.
Yeah. And
Tell me about this instrument.
we have many different sizes. There is a small one, it's for the dots, small line, and for this here, bigger hole, bigger hole.
It's like different nibs for a pen,
Yeah.
and this determines the thickness of the line. They dip it into the wax,
Hot wax.
and the hot wax sits in here
Yeah.
and just flows through like a pen. This is bamboo.
This is bamboo.
So I imagine a piece like this in 2 colors, done by hand,
Yeah.
natural dyes.
And that's both side the same.
Yes. Is this the best of the best?
Yeah.
Extraordinary. What this lady is doing now consists of putting in dots, but perfect, tiny dots, right every time. Honey, I've seen the process of design. May I see the process of the dyeing as well, please?
Yes, please. There, over there.
Thank you. Is it possible to touch these?
Yes, of course.
Ah, they're quite stiff.
Yeah, because the wax.
Ah, the wax is still here. This really helps to understand, honey,
Yeah.
because now I can feel the wax. Aha. And so you take these,
And then remove the wax here. After coloring, put in boiling water.
it's all floating to the surface.
Sarin.
And so the cloth that a moment ago was absolutely stiff with wax,
Yeah.
all that wax has come to the surface.
We collect that and we use again that wax, recycle wax.
And now we can see the beautiful pattern emerging.
Then after that, wash in the cold water. Okay, that's finished. Then just dry. Yeah, nice. No wax, no more wax.
No more wax. Beautiful piece of work. My Bradshaws advises that outfits for the tropics are best unlined. I wonder whether a batik sarong was in mind. Oh. What do you think?
It's nice.
You think it looks nice?
Yeah. Yeah.
And are there different ways of wearing it?
Yeah. It's the border is put in the front. The first one is put in the back.
Oh, yes. I think that's a bit saucier, don't you? But could I get away with it in London?
In London. Yeah.
I wish I shared her confidence. A new day. I'd made my way back to Yogyakarta station, opened in July 1887. The line from here was originally used to transport crops, but by the end of the 19th century, it was carrying passengers. Morning.
Morning.
Platform 3. This train is bound for Yogyakarta's sister city, Surakarta, popularly known as Solo. I've set out for the city of Solo. My guidebook tells me that the railway runs over a plain with Merapi volcano in the distance. Today it is shyly hiding in the mist. I can just make it out. These railways were constructed by the Dutch, by a private company, in the 1860s and 1870s, and were amongst the first lines in the whole of Asia. From Solo, I'm travelling northwest to the small town of Ambarawa, in search of a railway no longer connected to the main line. Under Dutch colonial rule, this was a military stronghold, and in the 1870s a branch line was built to serve it. This station is gloriously well preserved. It was named after Willem I, who became King of the Netherlands in 1815. Oh, the waiting room is superb. Travellers guided by my Bradshaws would have been among the first to use the line, which opened to passengers in 1905. The station looks much as it would have done at the time of my guidebook, which tells me that the total length of state and private lines open in 1911 in Java was 2,460 miles. Now, those railways were built by the Dutch to exploit the natural resources of the island and to move their troops around, not least to quell rebellions. And, at least initially, local people weren't even allowed on the trains. And yet, today, this heritage line is a source of pride and a magnet to Indonesian tourists, which shows you must never underestimate the nostalgic power of railways. Hello! Museum guide Oktar is meeting me on the veranda of this splendid wooden carriage. Hello, Oktar!
Hi.
How nice to see you.
Hi, nice to see you too.
What a lovely heritage railway line.
Yeah.
Tell me about the history of it, please.
This railway, it was made, it's about 1873. Before the independence of Indonesia, this railway used just only for Dutch soldier, just only for the transporting their soldier and transporting their Indonesians produce like coffee or rice, like something like that.
The Javanese people were not allowed on the trains.
No, just only soldiers for a Dutch purpose only. So we are Indonesian people or Japanese people, we just only the one who carry their package to train. After that, no.
That's terrible. Wonderful views now. Which mountains can we see from here?
That mountain, very triangle, we call that Telamayo mountain.
Is it volcanic?
No, it's a dead.
So it's not going to cause us any trouble today.
No, never.
This round trip runs along a restored route between Tuntang and Bedono, passing through plantations and paddy fields along the shores of Lake Rawa Pening. Today we're on a diesel.
Yeah, we are using a diesel today, but this diesel, it was made by Germany, or German, in 1965. But we still have 3 steam locomotives and 2 diesel locomotives.
Do you know how old this carriage is?
Yeah, there is a 3 carriage of this. The first one, it was in 1907, and the second is 1909, and the last one is 1911. So it's about 100 years ago.
Yes, these carriages are perfect for my tour because I'm using a guidebook from 1913. So these would have been the carriages that people were using at the time of my guidebook. The route ceased to operate in 1976, but is now restored as a heritage line and museum for all to enjoy, not solely well-heeled Europeans. Children seem to love trains in Indonesia.
Yeah, because they like the sound of the horn. Something like that, because there is a cartoon you call Thomas and Friends, Chungkinton, so that's why they like the train in Indonesia.
Today you celebrate the
Yeah.
Heritage Railway, even though initially you were not even allowed to use it. Explain that to me.
If there is no Dutch people coming from Indonesia, we don't have a train. There is no railway track in Indonesia.
You're very magnanimous.
Yeah.
Next time in Indonesia, I'll hear of a momentous event in the nation's history.
They climbed the tower and they tore off the blue part of the flag and then rehoisted the red and white flag.
I balance culture and tradition. I don't know how they do it. They won't stay still for a minute. And find that I can't handle my drink. Beans are very hot. Ah! Smells good.
Hop off in Java, hop on in Mumbai later. BBC 4's aboard the world's busiest railway at 8 o'clock. Next here, with HS2 getting the go-ahead, Andrew Neil's talking to Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, and to Chair of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, Tom Tugendhat.